So, welcome to another episode of Someone Has to Be Brave. Today, I have a guest who is my twin birthday solar return bestie. And we are talking about toxic family patterns and estrangement from an adult child or adult children. To add to that point, I also have a support group that is titled Love from a Distance for parents who are estranged from their kids. All right, so shout out to our production, Vic the villain. In every situation, there is a victim and a villain. Baby, always choose to be the villain. I'll tell you about it. So, Sharmanita Rush, if you would please be so kind as to introduce yourself and share a little bit about your journey as we talk about toxic family patterns and estrangement from an adult child or adult children.
So of course, you know my name. I am Sharmanita Rush. So I'll tell you about my name because everyone's like, that's a weird name for a Black girl. So it was from my father. I found out that it means a little healer because there is the tribe of Sharma and Anita means little. So it took me years to find that out, but I guess it fits me. So you said what?
I think so.
Yeah, you think
Know what I
so?
know about you? I think so.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Um, my journey, a little bit about me. So 5 years ago, I would say that my first description of myself would be that I'm a mother, I'm a daughter, um, and, I'm a caregiver. My actual occupation is mortician. But before I became a mortician, I was medical assistant, EMT, lab tech. I did all things taking care of someone. Um, I would say within the last 2 years, I'm learning who I am for myself. Oh, yeah, I'm 50. So now that I'm 50, I am learning who Sharmanita is, not what I am to someone else, but who I really am. And that definitely has been a journey that I'm excited to clear and walk through fiercely.
And can I also share that we are both born on the same day of the month and that we just met each other how long ago?
It was August. It was August. Was it August? No, it was July.
Jeez. Okay, so we've
It was
known each
July.
other for almost a year now. We met at
Almost a
Wright
year.
State. Yep, we met at Wright State University. I feel lopsided. And for an entrepreneur boot camp for veterans, we'll talk about that at another time. Can you share a little bit about your journey?
Um, I am the youngest of 13. I am the only child between my mom and my dad. I consider myself the love child because my mom had four girls before she met my dad, and my dad had four girls and three boys before they came together. Um, and that is where we can start to dive into the
Okay.
toxicity.
Okay. So let's just find out real quick. What made you willing to have this conversation publicly? And also, I want to say to you, if it's important to you, Happy Mother's Day.
Well, um, I guess being a mother to me is it's important, but I play so many roles and I have played so many roles to my children that okay, it's a good name to have, but sometimes you have to step outside of that and you have to do so many other things.
Mhm.
So I wanted to have, the reason that I'm okay with having this conversation publicly is because it's something that I've been living daily. And if anyone knows me, they know how I have tried to conquer it or I've tried to step over the obstacles that estrangement from a child or even learning and I would say more understanding and dissecting the family patterns. Because let's see, you encouraged me to get a new therapist, which I did. So shout out to Miss Charlotte. I'm going to make sure she watched this because Charlotte is my hero. She's my shiro. Um, she teaches me to be okay with the feeling that I'm having at that moment, to not fight it. I learned from an early age that my job was to be quiet, to be obedient, and regardless of how I'm feeling, to always have a good show, if you can understand what I'm saying.
Absolutely. Just like any service member, right? That's enlisted. When I was in the Army, we were conditioned to suck it up and drive on, to even to the degree of medical neglect. And I also want to add that we were taught blind loyalty. One of the things that my drill sergeants or commanders would say is, if I say a duck can pull a truck, hook it up. Okay. You know that,
Yes,
right? Okay.
yes. So I guess I was in my own army or my own Air Force because I was Air Force. Um, I was already in my own type of service prior to going in the military because I knew how to adapt to whatever situation. I knew to assess the room at a very young age and to see how much of myself I could expose or if it was safe for me to be who I was trained to be. Because
Mm-hmm.
at this point in my life, I'm learning who I am, what I like, what I don't like.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's so many instances, and I've had to sit with my therapist, I mean, hours to figure out what I love, what I enjoy, that's not associated with my children, that's not associated with my parents, which is not associated with my job, which, well, I say my career because, and it's even a ministry because being a mortician, I've worked very long hours and working in this arena, it has left me very empty and thankless, not only from the family sometimes you work with, but even your colleagues and the people that you think see you.
Mm-hmm.
But I've learned that it's about numbers. I don't care if I'm working for a private entity. I don't care if I'm working for a corporation. I don't care if I'm contracting. It's about the numbers. Can you do it? So I push myself to always be a goal setter because that used to be my thing. Oh, next thing to the next thing to the next thing.
Mm-hmm.
I never rested in my own praise.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
That is powerful. So, where do you want to start today? Do you want to start talking about your family system that's your origin, or do you want to talk about how did we get here to a place where you are estranged from an adult child? Which I also want to make sure that it is crystal clear. I too am estranged by choice from my adult child. So this is a very important topic for us all.
Okay.
So you have two
So,
children.
yes, I have two children. I have a son and then I have a daughter. At this moment, my son and I, my son is the oldest, and we have a good relationship. We've had a chance because in his youth, it was definitely challenging for me. But I would say now, at 24 years old, he is learning who he needs to be, and I'm not being an enabler because I was definitely an enabler. I learned that I thrived off of codependency.
Ooh.
So,
So tell us
yes.
what enabler and codependency means for people who don't know, and if you could give a brief example of how you say that showed up in your dynamic between you and your baby boy.
So an enabler is someone that has good intentions, but they step into the role of taking on the problem and taking full control of it,
Mm-hmm.
and not allowing that person to deal with whatever issue or situation or environment they're in. So I was good at coaching and telling them what they needed to do and how they should do it. And in all actuality, I would take over that actual task or routine or that situation. And I left them unable to cope, unable to maneuver for themselves. And I thought I was helping. I was actually handicapping them. I think I said
Mm-hmm.
that right.
Yep, you did.
Um, and codependency is where, once again, you have good intentions because you always do it with good intentions. But you have good intentions and you thrive off of saying, oh, I help this person or this person needs me, or the act of helping someone, it almost gives you a rush
Mm-hmm.
or
Powerful.
for or a temporary fulfillment. Because if that person that you have codependency with does not reciprocate any pleasantries or just anything, because a relationship should be some type of reciprocity, no matter what type
Mm-hmm.
of relationship it should be. But I condition my children to take. Although I expressed and they saw my downtimes and my vulnerability, I tried to hide a lot of that from them because I only wanted them to see the best of me, like I would on the outside world.
Right. But isn't that connected to how you were maybe conditioned to be as a child?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
sometimes we enable and become codependent because we're attempting to protect, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
good parents don't eat their kids.
No.
Some parents eat their kids. They take they screw up the child's social security number, got the electricity and stuff in their name.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
They
I've
get
heard
credit
that.
and so they eat their kid. Like their child doesn't have a chance to flourish because they've taken away some of the basic things that they will need to flourish. So
Mm-hmm.
could it also have been that you were giving them some things that you needed?
So I was giving them some things that I knew that I didn't receive.
Right.
I was giving them some things that when I was 7 years old or when I was 12 years old
Mm-hmm.
that I just didn't get.
Yep.
We had this thing that we had the I love you game. So the game was I love you more than all of the raindrops that fall out the sky. And so my kids would say, I love you more than all the grass in that lawn right there. So it would it'd be nighttime. And I say, I love you more than all the stars we could see in the sky. And so my son would say, well, mommy, I love you all the way to the moon and back and in the solar system. You know how kids are. They just
Yep.
think of anything. So,
Yep.
those types of things I gave them when they were much younger, but through their teenage years where I felt where I knew I didn't have the support and the communication with my family, I tried to be very transparent and open and give them opportunities that I didn't get.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not faulting my parents at all because they did their very best.
Oh yeah.
My father was he was born in the 30s. My
Mm-hmm.
mom, they were older parents. Like my father was 43 when I was born. My mom she was 30. So they lived a whole life before they met each other. And me coming into the picture, it was showing their love to each other. Um, but a lot of times I fell short because I didn't have a connection, because I always felt like I was, I don't know how I want to, I always felt like I was, you know how people say you special?
Mm-hmm.
And then they're like, oh, that baby's special. So like, I always felt that I was special, but I was always keeping up the mask. That's a good word. I was keeping up the mask for
Mm-hmm.
everyone
Okay.
because they couldn't see on the inside.
Okay. Okay. So, can you share? And I want to talk about that a little bit more. But can you share what led to you and your kiddo being estranged?
Sure. And this is my daughter who is younger than my son. I saw the breakdown of communication. Of course, she was becoming older. She had graduated from high school. Um, some of her choices did not align to what plan we had put together. And I was also in the midst of running a funeral home and, just life and just trying to spread myself and be there for other people at maximum capacity and not for myself. Um, what led to our estrangement was no real communication. And I asked her for a favor one day, and I realized, and it wasn't just about what I told you to do, I realized how ungrateful my daughter was. Now, we had instances where I looked at her and I was like, where's your empathy? Where is your compassion? And I saw that she was becoming more and more selfish, just
Mm-hmm.
more about, if it's not about me, I don't want to have anything to do with it. And in that capacity, it was foreign to me because I had to always put others first. So she grew up very privileged, cultured. Um, and as I felt that, as I gave her exposure and I gave her some free will, I'm thinking that she's going to learn and know some things that I didn't know at that age and be able
Mm-hmm.
to matriculate through life a lot better. What I found out was that I had been put on a pedestal to basically accommodate her lifestyle,
What do you
if
mean by
that's a
being put
good
on a
word.
pedestal to accommodate her lifestyle? I'm not sure.
I mean that by I felt that from the fallout and what I have been able to observe is that she assumed or she expected me to always, no matter what, accept her lack of responsibility that she no longer had for even cleaning her room or even paying a bill. The things that I had taught her, she no longer wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
And you know how you have those conversations with your kids and you're like, look, if you can't clean this bathroom and keep your room clean, you don't want to do what I want to, what I need for you to do in this household, because I'm never asking you something that I can't do for myself or I wouldn't do
Mm-hmm.
for you.
Mm-hmm.
You need to put your big girl panties on, as they always say, and, find somewhere else to live or, find better accommodations for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And when I put that into play, she told me that she saw me for the woman that I am and
Mm-hmm.
that I hurt her deeply.
Mm-hmm.
And to my answer and to my response was, um, nobody's perfect. That I felt that you no longer wanted to do the things you needed to do to stay in this household because they were always clearly stated. And because I told her that she needed to move, which I gave her like 3 months to move, when I told her that she needed to move, she didn't want to have anything else to say to me.
Got it. So, how long have you guys been estranged?
Um, it's going on 3 years.
Okay. How do you deal with that?
Ah, a lot of crying,
Yeah.
um, therapy. I pray for her. Um, I pray for her safety. I pray for um, her spirit. I pray for her confidence, and just really dissecting and looking back at myself to see where I can improve as a person and where I may have let her down, or, what I thought I was doing good, it did not serve her well. So, I mean, the way that I deal with it is trying to make myself better.
Smart move. Smart move. Has there been a really hard part of estrangement that people don't really talk about? Because let me just preface this. There's this trend. It's not really a trend that seemingly Oprah didn't start it.
I saw that.
Talking about like a certain generation of kids being estranged from their parents, which I call bullshit, because people do flee from things that aren't safe, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And, there's a lot of street kids who have left home at teenage years because they felt like the street was safer.
Mm-hmm.
So estrangement from families has been going on since the beginning of time. I mean, even if you read the Bible, it talks about the prodigal son who had left his family.
Mm-hmm.
So how was it new in 2026? Oh, because it ain't. So
Because we got social media and everybody can talk about it at one time, but it's been going
period.
on for a very long time.
It's been going on for a long time because kids have multiple sets of DNA. They have the moms and they have the dads, and one of the things that I think we learn, I remember, if I can just take a second, when my firstborn was starting kindergarten, I was so broken because I realized that others were going to have influence on him. And I also want us to talk about today about haters. When people see that your child is well loved,
Mm-hmm.
okay,
Mm-hmm.
sound. So let's go on into that, right? So I want to again ask you about what the hardest part of estrangement is that people don't talk about, and also about the haters trying to throw salt in the game when they see kids that are well loved, sometimes in all communities, by the way.
Oh yeah, it happens in all communities. The hardest part about being estranged is that was my broke best friend. Like literally, we did everything together, and I know from what other people tell me, even now, since I don't communicate with her, they say when she walks into a room, they like all we see is you. It was like her mannerisms, her conversation, the way she holds herself, or that she matriculates through a room. They're like, oh my God, we see you. The hardest part is the physical separation. The hardest part is the emotional separation. The hardest part is just like I'm grieving. I'm grieving her.
Yep, you're grieving.
I'm grieving the child because I don't like the adult.
Right. And one of the hardest things to do is to bury the living.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, I agree. Because no matter how much you may want that connection, at some point you have to understand that it may not, one, be healthy for you. Two, it may not be the right time, or it may not ever just come back to, it's not going to ever be the same. So I can say this, well, if we ever get the chance to reunite, I know that there will be a lot of boundaries and a lot of conversations because the roles have changed. You know,
Mhm.
in her letters that she's written me, she's like, oh, I see you for who you, the person that you are. No, you don't see me as, and I'm going to be transparent, you don't see me as the person that was molested, raped, teased, bullied. You don't see me as the person that got beat by your father and left everything and came back. No, you don't know who I am.
Mm.
You don't know who I am. You
Mhm.
don't know any of that.
Mhm.
And I'm okay with saying those things because it's everything you've been through make you stronger. Well, I had to turn those battles into my springboard.
And that's my shit. Okay. Alchemizing trauma is my shit.
Yeah.
Um, what I want to say is there's a study. I can't call right now who did the study, but there's a study that shows when women carry children, even after they give birth, parts of the child still lives within them.
Mm, okay.
And so for me, first off, let me be clear: the me being estranged from my offspring, I had medical doctors tell me that I needed to cut my offspring off, and they've been saying that, you know what I'm saying, since he was in high school. I've had doctors tell me, you need to cut this person off, or they're going to kill you. Like, they're going to kill you. The stress is going to kill you. They're going to kill you. And so the last time that happened was November of 2022, and I listened, and I have established that boundary for since that time. However, the loneliness in my soul.
Mm,
That
mm, mm.
okay.
It's nothing that can feel it. There is nothing that can feel that. I don't know. It's like hollow sometimes.
Hmm. Like
Yeah.
like the Grinch who stole Christmas, when he hollers into the telephone, hello, hello. Like, it's literally an emptiness, and I had to really pray, and I continue to pray for me to know that I'm full, whole, and complete, regardless of how this human being is showing us, make me sweat, regardless as to how this human being is showing up, who I had to excommunicate. They were at the age of 29. Um, how do you deal with that? How are you dealing with that?
I'm getting better at it. She wrote me a letter. I was on a road trip, and she wrote me a letter, clearly stating the words because, I was going to try to go see her to have a conversation. And I guess my son had told her about it. And um, from my understanding, she was, freaking out or whatever. And she wrote me this letter, and she was just like, you may have given birth to me. I appreciate the sacrifice, but I don't have any entitlement to her.
Mm-hmm.
So I respect her boundary, but it is definitely, I never do. My heart could break so much.
Facts. Facts.
Hmm.
And I tell people, the heartbreak from a child, it ain't nothing. Like, the heartbreak of a child, nothing can top it. It
Mm-mm.
don't matter who the
Nope.
dude is that you in a relationship and y'all break up. It don't matter if it's your mommy or your pappy. The heartbreak of your offspring.
Your heartbreak of your offspring that you have walked through the fire for,
Period.
that you have worked 7 days a week for, that
Mhm.
you have done everything
Mm.
and that have learned and that have reached out to get help, either for them or yourself, and to still be told whatever action you did is too much and I'll never speak to you again.
Facts.
So that's crazy. That's crazy.
Facts. And the thing that blew my mind, if I may, is it okay if this is a conversation?
Oh yes, I want it to be a conversation. Absolutely.
So the thing that blew my mind is that I dug in like for a straight 29 years, baby. Like because I left their parental, divorced their parental when they were, the first one was in kindergarten, right? And remained single for the sake of my children. The car I chose to drive based on children. The jobs I took based on children. Where I purchased a home based on children. The food I ate based on children. Even how I dressed based on children. Stayed in church for the sake of children. And so when you have this being tell you basically you ain't shit and you gave them your best, and your report card is straight F's. So I get it. I have definitely at one point low-key stalked, because at one point I was estranged from both. And I definitely have low-key stalked, like, driven to apartment complexes, prayed while driving around. But I had to get to a place of 2 tears in a bucket, motherfuck it, because everybody else in my life said I was doing okay, except for them toxic people. So what has this experience taught you about emotional maturity and relationships?
I actually started to read about emotional maturity. I learned about where I fell short, actually where I had maybe placed too much responsibility on them. But, because, we were latchkey kids. So I did what I knew, what I knew made sense for me. But I also know that not everyone can handle the pressure or the responsibilities of it. About emotional maturity, everyone develops differently, and it definitely matters. It definitely matters how they respond to the situation, be it good, bad, or indifferent, because to have emotional maturity, you have to have empathy. You have to have patience. You have to have a whole lot of things. And not even as a grown person does everyone have all of those things I spoke about.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you 2 more questions and we're wrapping up. And you can decide in which order you want to answer them. Is that cool?
Yeah, you might have to remind me about the second one because, I got this menopause brain fog.
Baby, don't you think don't you know I know? And period. Okay. So I want to know, what does bravery mean to you in this season of your life? And if your adult child heard this episode one day, what would you like them to know?
So being brave is being able to look at yourself. Being brave is being able to love that reflection, regardless of what anybody says, regardless of what anyone's impression of you is or are. And to me, what I would want that adult child that I'm estranged from to know is that I love you. The good, the bad, the ugly. I love you regardless of who you're becoming. Of course, I miss that child that you were. And I hope life is kind to you.
Ooh, okay. What I would say to my adult child is, I love you. I love you down to your dirty socks and your dirty drawers. But I had to learn to choose to love me more. And I appreciate, no matter how hard this lesson was, I appreciate you for being brave enough to my firstborn. I appreciate you for being brave and raw enough to be the teacher who gave it to me.
Mm.
Charm, I want to thank you for your time. I appreciate being your sister. I appreciate that you're a mortician. We are two Wednesdays doing our thing. And I'm grateful for you. And I'm grateful for Slick Vic, the villain. In every situation, there's a victim and a villain. Always choose to be the villain.
And he is cool at all his tasks.
On period. On period. Oh, 3 DC kids doing what they do. And that's what that is.
I love it. Yes.